down. We need like wind chimes or something. I don't know.
We'll find something amazing and magical.
Yeah. Do we do like an intro? Like say hello?
When we could.
Oh.
Hey,
we're here. Our first podcast episode. We're literally winging it. We have no idea what we're doing yet. Somebody does. He's not down here anymore.
No. But yes, he'll help edit. But I think it's pretty good. We started this idea when? January? It's only October, but that's okay.
Was it that far back?
Oh, yeah. Because I have some notes.
Oh, that makes sense. On paper or...
Sticky notes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's September? Almost October.
Yeah, it's October on, Saturday. So.
And it's not because we couldn't get it together. It was just like everyone's been busy and...
Life happens.
Yeah. And then you did a renovation down here.
Yes. And what do we think about this renovation?
I like it.
I do too.
I think we need to do a before and after because it was hideous. Like that rock wall was like bad before.
Yeah, so there was, the rock wall and this whole basement was like a deep, dark camel leather, not attractive color.
Very masculine.
Yes. So now we're light and bright and happy.
Yeah.
With a temporary Frenchy painting.
So it's going to change. The background, I'm sure, will change.
Yes.
Here and there.
It's fun to see this evolve.
Figure out our life. Our podcast life. So, why are we doing this? The idea, I think, came from you originally. To do a podcast.
Maybe. It was probably a joke. Well, maybe let's back up. That we met, like, 2 years ago? Maybe it's 2 years ago.
I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, because I moved here in May of 2022. And we started talking maybe in like December of 2021 or something.
Yeah. So just talking a little bit, and then you moved here. And then, side note, we did a little house hunting tour. And I think we just had fun. And then I think, I don't know, you probably said, we should have a podcast. As we discovered.
As a joke. I'm like, I feel like I have so much to tell, but not really anything of value. But so... Yeah, I was back in Charlotte, North Carolina, and slid into your DMs.
You sure did. I didn't even know where the DMs were.
Then,
you've taught me so much.
Oh, thanks. I try. And then I didn't expect anything, because I'm like, well, whatever. She was like this big-time realtor for somebody who... was on TV at one point.
Yes.
So I thought like you were this big time person and
now you know the truth.
I took a risk. All of that's paid off, I would think. But you were so nice and you were just like, yeah, sure, I'll help you look for apartments. Here are some like good areas in Denver to look at, because I had only been here twice alone and I had like no idea.
Which is amazing. Like, I cannot believe that you took a risk. Like, you came out to visit Colorado, loved it, and was like, I'm going to pack up all my shit and drive to a new state with my dog.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Thinking back on it, it was kind of crazy. But I feel like those are the best decisions, or the wild ones. I thought about that this morning, actually. Like, I had a house. I didn't own a house, but I was renting a 3-bedroom house. Full of stuff.
Wow. Full
of furniture, like...
Oh my gosh.
I just accumulated so much stuff, like, from, like, being in a relationship previously, and then that ended, and that was the first place I lived on my own after that. So I was just trying to create, like, a cozy home. So I sold it all. I was just, like, all of it gone.
Wow.
Didn't need it.
Were you not attached to any things? Was there something really special that you ended up bringing with you?
I brought one of my friends... father made me a mirror frame out of like 100-year-old barn wood. So I brought that, and then I brought like my Christmas ornaments. I've accumulated like each year I'll buy like a funky Christmas ornament. Like I have a flamingo and like a fish you would win at the fair with like a party hat on. So I just like buy random stuff. And other than, it's just in a small box, that stuff. Other than that, that's it. So,
wow.
Honda CR-V packed to the gills. And then I met you in person on my trip here before the move. I came in December.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We went and looked at that one, that apartment down in like low-high Tennyson area.
I don't even remember what that looked like. I don't know, it was so long ago, it feels. So anyways, yeah. So we did that. I moved here, and we were just friends.
Mm-hmm.
We just, like, became friends, and you've introduced me to, like, so many people. And the first weekend I was here, or the second or third weekend, you did that whole going out, rented that party bus, and
yes,
took us out to Mile
High Spirits. That was a fun night to go see a DJ friend. Yes. So everybody had a good time with him.
Yeah, that was fun. And then from there, it was just, I don't know, kind of like we've known each other forever.
I think so. I think that's where that came from. So as we spent more time together, I think we've found, funny stories or things in common, but we're 20 plus years apart in age. And I think just kind of discovered that, like, some things don't change.
Oh my God, I know.
So, like, from generational perspectives. So I think the podcast idea has evolved into all kinds of different things. And then I think I like what you landed on, especially as I watch your growth pattern, just because I wish I had done all the things you did when I was your age, and I didn't. And so I think, you came up with that name, bring something to the table.
Yeah, because I think we were talking, and we were like, yeah, well, they don't really bring anything to the table, so, like, why have them in your life? Mm-hmm. And I think that's, like, a theme of probably what we'll always be going through in every season of our lives, is, like, meeting people and feeling, like, that tension of, like, feeling bad for them and, like, wanting to keep these people in your life out of, like, guilt, maybe, and then also, like, knowing, like, you don't feel good when you're around them, or, like, they don't bring any joy to your life, or, like, any growth or anything. They, like, detract from it. So I know that that's always been, like, a theme in my life throughout, like, all the people that I meet. So that's fun.
It's hard, but it's true. Like, and that's, I think, yes, where we started to dive deep into this, was whether it's your job or it's your personal life or it's your relationship with a partner or it's a friendship. Like, we should always be leveling each other up.
Yeah.
And bringing something to the table on whatever that is. And I think that's kind of where the podcast idea started to flow into, is like, let's interview people. So always coming from an area where we've had adversity and we've had discomfort in our lives, but we've grown out of it, like grown through it. Mm-hmm. And so who else can we bring onto this podcast and talk about their struggles, or just other experts that maybe we've known that have helped us kind of level up and just
and getting different perspectives. Like, I feel like between us, we have such, like, a wide range of, like, people in our lives that have so many different perspectives on, like, all of these different journeys that we go throughout life. Yeah. So I think that stuff will resonate with somebody. I think that's, like, the whole point, right? Is, like, we connected, and we've connected with other people, and so we're like, these stories have to resonate with other people besides, like, our direct group or something. And maybe it'll inspire people or make them feel less alone about, like, whatever they're going through at the time. So, and it's, like, an excuse for us to get together and talk, I feel.
Because it was so fun when we were driving around looking for houses. That's what we could, like... Oh my gosh, and yes, you turned me on to the Wendy's French fry and Frosty combo. Yes. I never, in 53 years of my life, ever tasted such a tasty treat.
We didn't get fast food much as kids. So, like, when we did, I was like, give me all of it. So, like, dipping a fry and then, like, a Frosty, I feel like is the best of both worlds. It's all good and sweet.
And I think this is the fun part of our relationship, is it always gets derailed into some other tangent. That doesn't make sense. But then again, the underlying theme of, like, fun and compassion and kindness and friendship and...
And just being a good person. Yeah. And not playing the victim. Because, like, life is hard.
Oh my gosh.
Like, bad stuff happens.
Yes.
Like, everything happens. Not everything happens for a reason. I've caught myself saying that in the past, and, like, there are some really dark things that happen where I'm like, there's no reason for that. But I feel like some tumultuous things and big life changes that, like, maybe you weren't expecting happen for a reason to push you in one direction or the other. So, yeah. Yes.
I do want to touch back on that. That is like this resonating theme. And I think that's a hard place for me to be when I see people who are victims, because you and I have had our own adversity, like I said, and then I've just known other people as well. And at some point you just say, stop the madness and figure it out. And don't be a victim. There's only so long. And it doesn't mean that we can't have bad days or have our own little pity parties and things like that. But at some point, if you want to like have a better life for yourself and for those around you, figure it out.
Yeah.
And there's so many resources.
I know.
And we can talk about those things between therapy and ketamine therapy and
mushrooms
and yoga and
yeah. Maybe not alcohol, because that seems to perpetuate the anxiety. It's not really a therapeutic thing.
It's not therapeutic. I think that's great. I didn't know. I kind of thought it was just me, that if I drank one too many glasses of wine, I felt so much anxiety the next day. And then as I started talking about it, and then like with you and some other people, that's a common theme for some reason.
It seems to be getting worse. I've noticed for myself, like the older that I get, that like it's anxiety. Like you're hungover, you feel like crap, and then like you get like your mentalness or whatever is just like deep and dark and blue. Like you're like, what did I say? Like I don't remember everything. Did I make a fool of myself? It's just like the spiraling like thought process. And I don't remember having that in like my 20s. I was just like, yeah, bounce back, don't really care. And then now it's just like, oh my god, 2 drinks and I'm like, I can't remember everything. So like, what did I do? So yeah, it's definitely not. I think it's way more common than people think it is. And
I think that, so I just saw kind of that coined term the other day, sober curious, where people are just kind of exploring what that looks like, and maybe they don't have a glass of wine every single night. It's on a special occasion and not necessarily fully sober, but just managing that. And I have noticed that. So for sure, if I have a big work thing to do or I really need to be on point, like definitely don't drink the night before or even 2 days before, because
your brain is like
just
not firing like on all cylinders like it should be. I have done, I don't know, I'm 35. I've probably been like gone and had these sober spurts for like 6 months at a time, like throughout my late 20s and early 30s. And it is kind of crazy to be like, to like question your immediate like habit of just ordering a drink when you're out to dinner. Like I had to find like something to do instead, or like something to order instead. So I still wanted to have a drink in my hand and have like
that social aspect of it is
because you're not just gonna stand there at a bar like what do you do with your hands,
right?
So I would do soda water and lime, and I would just drink that, and then no one questioned, like, because there are those people that are like, oh, why aren't you drinking? Are you pregnant?
Right.
Like, what's going on? Are you okay?
Right, isn't that strange that that's always where people go to? Like, why can't it just be, I don't feel like it tonight?
That's another thing, too, is, like, if you start to become, like, curious about what life is like being social but, like, not drinking, you have to stick up for yourself in a way, or, like, be your own advocate. Because people will be like, no, just take a shot. Like, here, we're celebrating. Like, don't be a Debbie Downer or whatever. Right. And you just have to kind of, like, stick to your guns and not let people, like, push you to do something you don't want to do.
Which I think is their problem. Because clearly they're uncomfortable, and so they're the ones who want it. Your sobriety or your choice to not drink is making someone else uncomfortable. Yeah. And that's their problem. So, again, like, be aware, people. If someone doesn't want to drink, support that.
It makes them, my thought is that, like, it makes people uncomfortable because then it starts, making them question their choices.
Right.
So they're like, well, am I drinking too much? Or, like, should I not be ripping 6 shots before, like, 7 p.m. when we're out or something? So I find that with, like, dietary stuff, too. If, like, I did the Whole30, like, years ago and went to my grandmother's Easter dinner. It's an Italian family. You do whatever grandma, like, says, like, you eat everything, there's no, like, dietary restrictions, and that was, like, a challenge, because everyone's like, well, no, why aren't you eating, like, the ham, or why aren't you eating the meat pie, and the things filled with gluten and cheese, and you're just like, I am trying this thing for myself to see, like, why I feel like crap.
Right.
If I eat this stuff, I have to start all over, so it's like, you have to set your own boundaries with things, like, everything.
Boundaries. Oh my God. Yeah, that'll be
a whole other season.
Great season. Exactly. I mean, I am kind of proud to learn or say that I'm just starting to figure out boundaries. It has taken me multiple decades to get there. Still a little uncomfortable, but wow, it feels really good. But that's a whole other, yes.
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable at first to listen to yourself, because like that's when you know like you need a boundary. It's like when you're like out and about, or like what I've noticed recently is like if I'm around people and I feel like tense and like just uneasy, then like either it's something that I need to explore, like this person is just not making me feel good in that like instance. So I need to figure out why. So it's like figuring out how to listen to like that little voice that like taps you on your shoulder like that, and then figuring out like, okay, do I need to stop hanging out with them, or like is it something within me that's like, I read this thing that said there are things that like you don't like in other people, and that's like a reflection of what you don't like about yourself. So true. That's hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah. It is. But sometimes I see that really clearly, or I have in the past. I've seen that with people. And then sometimes I'm not. Like sometimes I just don't like somebody.
Right. So yeah, I don't think it like is true.
Yeah.
It's definitely not true for everybody.
Yes, but I think in general, I think there is it just rubs you a little differently than not liking the person. There's something else that's gnawing at you. Yeah. And that's when you have to be like, oh, I think that person has a trait that I have that I don't care for.
Yeah. There are people, I've like recently tried to pinpoint one of those things, and I find that people that like really stick up for themselves, like kind of a little bit more than like I would ever be comfortable with, like that makes me uncomfortable. And I think I've like found that it's maybe because like I stay quiet a lot, because like I like to observe and just like listen to people talk, and if there's like disagreements or something that comes up that I disagree with, I'm still just quiet. So I've noticed that like when people speak up and chime in about stuff and they're like, no, like that's not right, I get uncomfortable and kind of like upset, and I think it's because I don't speak up.
Right. So are you feeling like you might be siding with somebody in that conversation, and then you don't like the conflict that's happening?
I don't like the conflict, and I find that people, I don't want to like bring politics up, but when people have specific political views, they get loud about them sometimes, and that's not me. Like, I'm not going to argue with people like that.
Right.
So I think I back down because I'm like, it's not really worth it to have this like toe-to-toe conversation with this person. And also like, you're not going to change anybody's mind. So I'm just like, have at it, speak your truth, whatever. But then hearing other people stick up for their viewpoint has made me realize like maybe I need to start doing that and voicing like how I feel about things. Like, I don't know. That's just one instance.
I have always kind of admired people who, I've known people in my life who just are like those honest people who don't make apologies for who they are, and they just say things, and like you might find it prickly, but people just accept them.
Yeah.
I'm so used to being nice and accommodating and wanting people to like me that I don't always say my point of view, or I mean, I'm honest on things, but like I'm not loud like that.
Yeah.
But I find that some of those people are just accepted, and like that's a great quality that you love about them. But if you're not like that and you're trying to grow to be that way,
it's hard.
I think it's hard, and I think you start to lose some friends because some people are like, well, no, Shelby, you've not been like that before. I don't want to, who are you?
Yeah.
I don't want to be around you anymore. You're not fun.
Yeah. And maybe that's a boundary. Like, you want to become this kind of person, you want to be more like vocal about how you feel about certain things. So like if people don't want to grow with you, then like maybe you don't spend enough or as much time with them.
Yeah. And it is interesting because I have, and I think you do too, like so many different friend groups where we just get different things that we need from different people, and it's kind of nice to have that too.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about dating before we...
Do we even want to say like an introduction on who we are or what our names are?
Yeah. Let's do that.
How long has that been?
We'll
have to cut that part.
20 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So we can do our quick intro and then save dating for another one because I have to leave soon.
Okay. And maybe our intro can then be like cropped and put at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
You want to go first?
Or I can if you want.
You're A and I'm going to be B, so go ahead.
Okay. I'm Shelby Anderson. What are the stipulations or the things I have to say? Who am I? What am I doing?
Yeah. Like your background, some interests that you have, and why did you want to start a podcast?
I feel like we already talked about
Did we do it? Okay.
that.
Your background?
Too. Anyways, hello.
Okay, so there's a lot of editing that's going to have to happen. So you're Shelby. How old are you?
Yeah.
When did you move to Denver?
Okay. Shelby Anderson, originally from upstate New York, Rochester. I moved to Denver in May of 2022.
What do you do? What's your job?
Oh, I'm a manager at a tech consulting company. Been with the company for 8 years or something. But, like, that's my full-time job, but I do a lot of other stuff, too. So, like, to me, that's my side gig right now.
Yeah, you do a lot of other stuff, and I want to say you have a cool hobby, like refinishing furniture.
Yeah. We're starting that back up
Awesome.
in the wintertime.
Are there what other, like, interests do you have? Like, do you have a hobby that you love, or that gives you some, I don't want to say peace. Joy.
Ooh, like things I lose track of time doing?
Yes.
Honestly, this sounds so silly, but like making Instagram reels.
Oh my gosh, okay.
It makes me so happy. And like doing marketing stuff, like doing like social media posts for you, like for your company, and like creative type stuff. Like that brings me joy. I hate that it's on a phone, but it is what it is. Or on a computer, because I'm on a computer all the time anyways. But yeah, like creative stuff, yoga. We've been weightlifting since July. Not that you can tell, but
I bet you can. I bet you feel stronger just in general.
I feel stronger, yeah.
That's so good.
But the change in the body is not quite happening yet, but we gotta stay consistent. So
Yeah, it takes a while.
that brings me joy. Going to the gym, working out, meeting people.
You meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've seen you in like public environments where you've gone and not known a single person and you just talk. I find that fascinating.
It's the nervous energy that makes me talk.
Oh my gosh.
Like it won't shut up when I get really nervous. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. But okay, your turn.
Well, I'm super excited to kind of like, this is the first time I get to say it like publicly. I'm changing my last name, so I'm Leslie Beck. Back to my maiden name, so excited, won't change it again. 53 years old, from Dallas originally. I came to Colorado via California, Southern Cal, Northern Cal, and I've been in Denver for 20 years. And had corporate jobs, small business jobs, and then I've had a real estate brokerage for the last 7 years. And it's been good.
Yeah.
I've married twice. One I'd like to pretend never happened, but it is what it is.
We all have those.
And then a 21-year-old kiddo, and now a blended family of 3 dogs.
Very blended.
It's very blended. And gosh, I have not worked out in like 2 years and I miss it so much. So I need to get back into doing that because like hot yoga is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
I love cooking and I love entertaining and party planning. And I like a glass of wine with an adult coloring book.
Really? I didn't know that about you.
Because I just found them. And I was like, oh my gosh, here's my coloring books.
They're fun. It's like the easier version of like that sip and paint kind of thing. You know how people do that?
Oh, yeah.
That's too much.
Oh, yeah. We have to be creative and do it all. Like, you had to paint by numbers a while back. That's right up my alley.
I still haven't finished it.
Oh, you haven't?
No. It's sitting on top of my fridge. But I did the wallpaper, so.
Yeah, that was I got to see that video. And Scrabble. Like, I am all about a game of Scrabble or backgammon. Not many people play backgammon.
I don't know even what that is.
Well, we'll have to.
Is that what you do that makes you lose track of time? Is coloring and playing games?
Yeah, the coloring thing gets a little stressful for me because sometimes I like get out of the lines and then I get upset. I have to walk away and have a timeout.
Oh.
But that losing track of time is sometimes it's like getting onto Pinterest and being like, one more thing I want to look for.
Oh my God.
Those ridiculous things, but
Yeah.
backgammon, I can literally like. I have a girlfriend who maybe we'll have on this podcast, and she plays backgammon. We're very similar skill sets at it, and so we can do that for hours and just chat, and it's so much fun.
Fun. Okay, we can wrap up with, I feel like this would be fun. What is one goal that you have for this podcast?
What is one goal? I think if we could just touch somebody or someone else was like, thank you. Like, I don't feel alone anymore. I feel seen and heard. Whether it's sharing our personal stories or having a guest on here, just so that somebody feels accepted and heard and loved and knows that they're not alone.
I like that. I feel like what I've realized recently, like I'm only 35. That's not old, despite what I tell myself and like what my knees say when I walk up the stairs. But I feel like I've been realizing more that time goes by so fast and life is so short. And like, I think my goal for this is to inspire somebody to like do some scary stuff. Like, what's life? Like, why live your life on the sidelines? Watching other people like make all of their dreams come true. So like, I think a lot of people have a bucket list and a lot of people wait until they're old to like start checking things off. So I'm trying to check those scary things off while I'm still young. And I feel like this podcast will maybe make or allow people to feel like empowered, like they can do that stuff too. And things aren't that serious. So,
well, now that you brought that up, like when you were doing Denver Fashion Week and tried out for that, wow, so ballsy, and you did it. I mean, again, like I just grew up different. I wanted to get married. I wanted to have kids. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. All these things that did not work for me.
Yeah.
And I took a different path, and then to see you get to do all these things is super cool. And then I guess, I love that. Yeah, it's just inspire someone else to get out there and just take, because you've done risks. It, and then you have an experience, and then there's a story to tell at the end.
Right.
But you've grown, and you never know who you're going to meet when you take a risk.
That's what I tell myself, is like, sometimes I don't want to go to things. Like, I don't want to go to a party, or like, I don't want to hang out or go to something where I don't know anybody. But then I like tell myself, you have no idea who you're going to meet. Like, you could meet the love of your life, or like you could meet your next best friend or something. So I always talk myself out of like backing out of things, because I'm like, oh, it could be like one of the most monumentous moments of my life. Yeah. Hasn't quite been yet, but I've had some pretty good moments with these risks. So yeah. Yeah.
All right. I think that's a good way
to
end our like pilot podcast. Not even that. We'll just keep this for some, I don't know, back library.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Is that B-roll? Or whatever. I don't know what anyone calls it anymore. Okay.
Oh, should we end that with like, we'll have this and it'll probably be posted in a caption of like where you can find it. Spotify,
I don't think have we figured that out yet?
No, but it'll be somewhere.
There will be a podcast put somewhere.
Yes.
For you to listen to and watch. TBD on that.
TBD.
Okay.
Bye.